element to being an entrepreneur. It's a given. And in doing many sessions with women, whether they be students or women entrepreneurs or even women CEOs, one of the things that I've found is that there is a fear of risk-taking. Believe me, you've got to take the risk if you're going to get and feel confident about taking the risk. Along with risk-taking, it's not called risk-taking if you don't fail. Along with risk-taking, what is risk-taking? That you'll win part of the time and you lose part of the time and you're hedging this, right? So along with risk-taking comes failure. And I'll share something with you through going through all these years. The times I remember learning the most are when I fell flat on the ground and stubbed my nose and other parts of my body. And then the art, the science, the confidence to pick up, dust off, and move on and learn from that experience. For me anyway, that has been the most valuable. I look at things, one of my bosses at HP, from whom I learned the most, was an ex-Marine. He was shorter than me, but my gosh, he was a tough guy to work for. And the way he did performance evaluations is he said, all the things you did well, he'd say, okay. And then there was a list of things that you needed to improve on. It used to drive me nuts because there was nothing in my performance evaluation that said what I'd done well. But the thing I learned the most from him was the fact that these areas of improvement of things that I'd fallen flat on were the ones that I would really grow in and remember later. So my two messages are take the risk and fall flat, pick up and move on.
I'm going to make you take that. I'll make you take that one step further because I want to read a question from the audience. What is the biggest failure of your life and what did you learn from it, personal or professional? So you started us off, but you didn't get specific enough. Can you give us an example of one of those failures?
The biggest failure, I had so many. I remember when, I'll just pick one that comes to my mind. So I'd started Hewlett-Packard in India. I'd started the first software center of any multinational in Bangalore, set up the first satellite data link, and I'm sharing these with you because I was feeling on top of the world. And it was like, and nobody at that time in 1986 believed that you could do software in India. People would be like, is there power? Is there a road? Do people speak English? You know, I actually convinced a very wise technologist in Cupertino, I won't name him, good friend of mine, that my father had a 3-elephant garage, and he was convinced about that for 2 weeks. But anyway, so I came back from India. I was feeling really spiffy about myself, and I was given the job of international software to run that for HP. I had 8 software centers worldwide, and it was like, oh, you start a software center in India, I run a software center anywhere. I'd run in India, Germany, Singapore, in France, in Atlanta, and Japan and Brazil, I think. So it was really spread out. And we started to do this round-the-clock software projects. And I'll tell you, this is early 90s, so this was pretty early in the game. And I was like, okay, we'll put in all the processes. I'm an engineer, and we'll get this done. And we had a large project, one of our largest projects for HP. At that time, it was very big. It was a solutions project for $23 million. And everybody was like, Radha could take this and do it. She's got people all over the world. And we started this. And what a failure the first 3 months were. Because what I didn't know is if a group said, we'll get this done. If I said, okay, we need to get this delivered by 5 p.m. on Thursday, whatever, October 30th. In Germany, it meant it will be delivered at noon on October 30th. It worked okay, but it wasn't the spiffiest solution. From India, they had found a really sort of some cute way of getting this done with the least amount of software issues, but also but it came in like maybe at 7 p.m. after I'd sweated it out. And from Brazil, I would get a call that they said it had a great solution. I got a call on October 30th saying, when do you want this delivered? And from Singapore was a whole set of processes of how to deliver. And it was, the first deliverable was a catastrophic failure.
And you learned?
And I learned about how to work with different cultures and how to really set up a round-the-clock software team, what the handoffs were, what the expectations were, what things to give. I gave software processes to Singapore, I gave some different technologies to India, and we really set up a worldwide team. And we had an 800-person team once doing one of the largest projects that was delivered.
Life is all about learning from failures. I know many of you guys probably take a roller coaster ride. I'm terrified about roller coaster rides. For me, like, people have to really push me onto one of those. And I had this sinking moment when the first time you take a dip, and then it's okay. Because I take that dip, and then I know the next dips that come through, it's going to be okay, and I'm going to survive, and I'm going to live through it. So that is exactly the kind of experience I have when I go through when I get out of my comfort zone and try something new. Is that fear of failure. You just almost want to close your eyes and you want to get through it, so you know the next time it's going to be okay. There are many, for me, there have been many technology and organizational risks that I've taken, but the one that comes to me is people risks. As you grow organizations, as you get out there, the biggest thing that you know is to trust in people. As you trust in people, and you have to kind of support that by building out people. And there have been failures in how I intuitively could read folks. It was all about, for me, it was all about looking for people, looking for execution skills, looking for really that record and consistency of how they've executed. And I used to constantly look for that kind of folks and bring them into the organization. And that was a failure. I'll tell you why, is because you always need a diversity and a diverse team to really make an organization successful. Seldom the folks who are executing are not the people around the table who are bringing in new ideas and fresh ideas, or not the kind of people who are taking a minute to say, why do you want to do that, and why not this? And there was a lot of people who would just, give me the task, and I'll do a best job at this than anybody else. So for me, it was a learning experience through failure and through creating teams that didn't scale really well, to be able to go and create that. That was my earliest lesson as a manager. Early on in my days, is to what is that intuitively, who are the right people? What is the kind of constitution of my team that I need to have? And just a small example.
Life is a gamble, boy, so you know that you better play your cards right. If you're gonna take a chance, then you know that you better stand up and fight. This is just a game.
I was married in my late 20s, got divorced as many people do, and decided I had to move to New York. And I was working on Wall Street, and I really wanted to, get to, accelerate my career. I needed to be there, and it was a failure on my part because I really wanted, obviously, a marriage to work, and I really loved my career, and that was really kind of where my focus was. So I felt that I had somehow, let my friends down, my family down, because it was really what my priority was, and that's what I went after. So off I went to New York, and I had started at Montgomery Securities, and we went through a series of acquisitions, and I rose very quickly from a very junior level all the way up to managing director in a short amount of time, and felt very proud of myself, and I can really do this. And the job obviously changed a bit from being very focused on working with pre-IPO companies at a very boutique-y firm to a very big bulge bracket, marketing-oriented firm, and there was a lot of acquisitions and consolidation going on, and we acquired DFJ probably 6 months after I moved to New York, and they brought on, we acquired 2 analysts from DFJ, and one of them was in my space. And I was devastated because I knew that she had 10 years of experience on me. She was II ranked, and I didn't know what to do.
And she was a woman.
And she was a woman. And she was great. And she said, stay, you can do these small companies, you know, it'll be great for you. But I took a step back and I said, you know, my passion is this small stage, this early stage. I had the, you know, really fortune of working with a lot of companies right before we took them public, Urban Outfitters, Hot Topic, Abercrombie and Fitch, and it was fascinating and just so much fun. And that's when I decided to take the leap and go into just starting to do private investing. It actually coincided with the CEO of Hot Topic calling me and saying, we're starting a new company, do you want to do a friends and family round? And I said, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but I wrote him a check, and off I went down the races. And it was hard and devastating. I spent many days crying on my couch thinking, oh my God, my whole identity was with this job. But I picked myself back up. I figured out what my real passion was, which was not working at a bulge bracket investment banking firm, but instead working with the entrepreneurs. And I took a dive into something that I had no idea what I was doing, but I knew that I was passionate about it, and I knew it was going to be successful because of that. And so here I am, and I've loved every step of the way.
I think mom just, you know, being a mom just helps me actually do my job better. When I came back after my second one, I knew what to focus on and what not to do, and where you want to spend your energies. And I think it just makes you a better person, a better manager, better you know, leader, and you know, hopefully a better entrepreneur.
Rhonda, is there a bias against women?
Heck no. Moms are the best jugglers, and talk about bruises and scars and picking up and moving on. You just hear, and having a great passion. These are the best qualities of a CEO, and knowing your customer all the time. You know your kid all the time. So, hey, there is, those are all qualities, especially in today's world, that are really important for CEOs.
Kendra, can women be women's worst enemies?
Oh, absolutely not. They can be their biggest supporters. I think that, you know, this is evidence of that. So, and I think that, especially, you know, you know, as a mom, you reach out to other moms, you support one another, and it's the network that makes it all work. And you know, you can't control your children necessarily, so you adapt. And it's a good lesson for business, quite honestly.
Kathy, how do women go about getting paid equally to their male peers?
Ask me in 60 years, because it may take that long for those two curves to actually intersect each other. But one is demand it, two, expect it. First, I should put that first. Expect it, and then demand it. And then you know what? Go someplace else and get it. Because the market for very talented, passionate, capable women is a free market. You don't have to work where you work. And you also don't have to mother everyone where you work. You're allowed to be decisive, and you're allowed to be tough, and you should allow yourself to be unliked from time to time. Yeah. Because otherwise, people will take advantage of you and give you more burden than you need to do your job really well. But I learned that the tough way sometimes. But one other thing I want you to hear is, because Mona said this and alluded, if someone promises you money, you do not have the money until their check has cleared your bank account in 3 days. Repeat that to yourself over and over, because I've seen too many women believe too much that someone, and they trust way too far. So until it's cleared, they have not made their commitment to you.
Mona?
Well, I'm an optimist. I believe in, you know, my parents were also biologists, so, you know, even if we blow up this planet, it's all coming back, because life is eternal, and, you know, and being a mother, you learn that, and I think love is the greatest power that we have. So with my children, not only did I become tougher, because I was able to, you know, work with no sleep and juggle unbelievably. But really, the greatest power is optimism for the future. And my kids blow me away. Their level of talent and their social awareness is really incredible. But I would hire a mother any day. over another employee, because I know I'm going to get a level of work performance that is hard to achieve without that experience.
You ladies are a wealth of knowledge